Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this update we're going to talk about the place that grains have within this reflation trade. And what is so important about grains is, well, a couple things. One, they're relatively inexpensive and affordable to trade if we have to take them overnight, which this would be an overnight trade. We're looking to hold this for days, if not hopefully weeks. And the other thing is to look at the expiration dates that we are looking for these, so you understand front month timing for which contracts to focus on. So first of all, suffice to say, this video is about getting long beans and bean oil when each of them pull back to a volume ledge. In fact, I'm looking at points of control in both if we pull back. Now let's jump into, well, which contracts are we looking at? And this is always a sticking point for new traders, which is, which contract do I trade, Rag? And so remember that ZL and ZS is the futures contract. Next, we're looking at the month. What month are we going to trade? And for that, we follow open interest. So you'll notice we have the May contract and then July. So we actually want to focus on July. So be very aware of many of your platforms are going to still be showing you May, but it's actually the N or the July contract that we want to focus on for our entries. Because if we grab May, not only are we in a market that's starting to reduce open interest and volume, if we take that May, yes, these expire towards the end of June, so you would have plenty of time. But, and again, if you get into May, I don't see a huge problem with that, but do track that the end, the July contract, is where there's almost two times the open interest. All right, so what about then bean oil? Let's do the same conversation there. So right now, the front month in bean oil is going to be where we have here May. Let me show you the open interest, where we quite haven't gotten to the first notice date, which is June 30th. But again, don't just look at what's going to expire. Look at where the open interest is migrating to. And once again, we're talking about N or June. So that's where the interest is. So you would actually look at the BON 21 contract and set up your prices there. Same thing goes with soybeans. You look at the S. Well, actually, if you're on most platforms, it's going to be ZL for oil, and it's going to be ZS for beans. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm on TradeStation, by the way, and TradeStation uses the old symboling that actually I'm quite used to after decades of looking at this. But nonetheless, keep an eye on the July contract. That's where the open interest is. And then wait for the pullback to the volume ledge. So let's see what that looks like. So here I'll pull up the ZS for N. So we'll look at the ZS N contract. So soybean futures, and there's your July contract for 2021. And there's your point of control. See those two long white lines? Those are volume ledges. Those are levels that we have the most volume sitting at. Okay, let's go over to the oil, where we have the most interest in oil. So look at ZL, and we'll look at the soybean for July. There we go. And you'll see, again, another pair of volume levels. And if we can get a fill in those zones of volume with a pullback, that is what we're going to focus on. So keep an eye on this. Think about the contract months, and I'll see you in the next update.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me